Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that introduction. I hope I'm audible. Okay, so I'll be turning off my video, and at the end of the presentation, I'll again switch it on. Maybe bandwidth issues will come. Should we need to wait, or we can start? Already 20 participants are there. We can. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. So, very good evening to one and all. Present online here. I can see around 16 to 18 participants. Yeah, as Rensis sir told, we'll be the next 20 minutes we'll be discussing about technical articles. So I hope. I do not know which all your students are present, but the next 20 minutes is planned in such a way that even a beginner can understand and get benefited out of this talk. Probably those who have joined fresh to the college as first year students, or probably students who are leaving the college by this year. So anyway, a technical article or reading, understanding a technical article is very much essential for us like engineers. So I'll be taking my presentation from now. Please feel free to interrupt in between if you have any doubts, or definitely we can have a good round of discussion at the end. So before we start, Rensi sir, can I have a Mentimeter poll just to know the background of the students? Which all sections, which all departments they are? Can I just post it? Okay, all right. Yeah. So what I will do is I'll be sharing a site called as Mentimeter site. I'll be sharing it to you now. I hope it is visible to you all. Not chat box. I'm just presenting it now. Is that visible? No, right? All right, 1 second. Yeah, now I am presenting. Can you guys see? All right, 1 second. I hope it will come now. Yeah, so what you guys can do is, I'll put that site here in the chat box also. It is called as menti.com. You can go to this menti.com site. I'll type full www.menti.com. You can go to the site and it will ask for a code. The code is 825049. You can enter that code, and then you will get this question and you can choose your answer there. So that I'll get to know like from which all branches you guys are. I hope it's clear. You can click to this medi.com. Then you will they will ask for a code, class code or code something, and you can enter this code and give your answers. Yeah, those who are seeing this in mobile, you may need to open another tab, or sometimes you may get exit from this Google Meet also. You can join after giving your responses. All right, there is one from CS. Yeah, two from CS. Civil. Sorry. I use the code. Yeah, EC, electrical, mechanical, civil, computer science, information, and the applied science. All right, one from, yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah, first years are there. They can also enter the details. I can. All right, 7 responses we got, and we can see around 20 participants. See, if you are struggling to log into menu.com and do this, it's perfectly fine. You can give a response even in the chat box. Yeah, I'll wait for another 1 minute. 8 responses we got. All right, so we are getting responses. So others who are trying to log into menu.com, I have just pasted the code here in the chat box. All right, we got one from IT also. Yeah, so if you're joining late and if you can see the chat, you can do that so that we'll get the information. So 7, 8, 12. 12 responses has come. I think I'll move forward and we'll, all right, yeah, some more are responding. All right, so we got around 15 responses. Others also can respond. Since others are also waiting, I'll be starting with my presentation. It's perfectly fine. If you're not able to do this, you can put in the chat box or you can respond it after some time using the same link. So thank you. I'll be just minimizing this and I'll show my presentation. I hope you can see the slides. Yeah, my slides are visible, right? Yeah. All right. So, good evening once again. So, I'll be taking only the next 20 minutes to explain about this technical article, the questions what you would have seen in the poster. So, in next 20 minutes, we'll be seeing what a technical article is, or what is a scientific article. Then we'll see why to read scientific articles or technical articles, and when to start reading these articles, and from where to get these articles, the source. Then we'll also see how to read a technical paper or a technical article, and finally which one to choose, because there will be a lot of papers or articles available online, and so which one to choose. So this will be the outline of my presentation. In case if my audio is not clear, please ping in the chat box. All right. So I'm very sure that if not technical articles, but all of you would have seen some kind of articles, right? So when I say article, you would have seen articles in newspaper, especially in the editorial page. Editorial office will be writing several articles on several topics. You would have seen articles about things in web pages. For example, Wikipedia, if you search for Kerala, you will get an article about Kerala, talking about all the backgrounds, the culture, the main attractions of Kerala. That is also one kind of article. At the same time, if you look at magazines, what you can see on the screen is a magazine which is related to education, but there are plenty of magazines out there related to sports, related to films. So you can see all magazines also will have some kind of articles, right? So what do you mean by an article? So article, the meaning of article is it is a small piece of writing which is intended to publish in a newspaper, in a magazine, in web pages, or in a journal. So any small piece of writing where we want to publish somewhere, that is basically to give information to others. So that is what an article is. And I'm very sure that all of you would have definitely read a lot of articles, and today we know that we'll also get a lot of articles in different forms through WhatsApp, through mails, and etc. etc. All right. So now, but our discussion. So since I told that there are a lot of articles out there, how will you classify articles? So in general, we can classify articles into two types. As engineers, as we discuss about articles, we'll also bring in a method actually to do this classification. So basically, or one way of classifying article is based on the method what we follow in writing an article. Or I can say, I can call it as a scientific article or a non-scientific article. So when I say scientific article, a scientific article will definitely follow a scientific method. We will shortly see what a scientific method is. And if it non-scientific article means it can be it will not be using any scientific method, but it will be definitely sharing the knowledge and truths about the world using the techniques, right? But those techniques need not be following a specific steps or process, right? So articles can be broadly categorized as two: the articles which is written by keeping a scientific method behind that, and other articles which do not follow any scientific method. So you can think about all the poetries and all the articles related to the literature. Other things will definitely come under non-scientific method. All right. So since this talk, or since the audience now include all of us are engineers, or all of us like budding engineers, we will see what is a scientific method. All right. So I'm sure that you would have definitely gone through the process or this method, but you may be identifying it as different steps probably now. Let us see what are the different steps in a scientific method. So the very first step in a scientific method is observe and question. What is the meaning of that? So if you are, see for example, you want to do something, or you want to do research, or you want to write an article. So the very first thing is you will observe things and you will question. So now this observation and questioning, as we are discussing engineers, this I'm bringing into the perspective of engineering background. All right. So observe and questions means we'll make observations, and based on the observations, we'll ask questions, or we'll identify problems. All right. Now, after observing and identifying a problem, the very next step is to research and hypothesize. So we should understand these two terms in detail. So what do you mean by research? Can I get some response in the chat box? What do you mean by research? Any idea? Research. What is the meaning of the word research? Can I get some response? Whatever comes to my mind, comes to your mind, you can post it. There is no issue. Research on the കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വരുന്നത്? You can just post it. Chatൽ എഴുതാം. Don't worry whether the answer. Yeah, start know about something in depth. Very good, Abhinav. Yes. All right. Any other thoughts? Scientific method to give reason for anything. Yes. Innovation. All right. Very good response. Alina, Srinivas, Shibin. Investigate. Oh, very good. All right. Any more responses coming up? The systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources. Very good. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much for the responses. So when you look at the term, so when you look at the term research, we are searching again, or the meaning is search for existing answers or solutions, right? So whatever you have posted in the chat box is definitely part of research, or research will lead to innovation. Research will lead to all such things what you have posted just now. So research is basically searching for existing answers or solutions. So why you want to search for existing answers or solutions? Because you made some observations. You have identified a problem. Now you are searching whether somebody else have done a study on that problem, or whether you will get some solutions or answers with the existing. So just want to know whether others have done the same work or not, right? So once you search for existing solutions or answers, the next thing is you will actually formulate a hypothesis. So basically what a hypothesis meaning is, it is actually a supposition, or it is actually a proposed explanation, and but that is based on a very limited evidence. So you do not know completely whether it is true or not. So you will make a hypothesis. Soon after making a hypothesis, what you will do is you will actually perform an experiment to test whether whatever you understood is right or wrong. All right. So if you look at the different steps in a scientific method, the very first thing is you are observing and questioning or framing a problem. Second thing is you are searching for the existing answers or solutions, and based on that you are formulating a hypothesis. So what is the idea of formulating this hypothesis? You to test. So that is the next step. The next step is step 3, which is to experiment. So you have a hypothesis ready. You have some suppositions, or you have certain idea. You got some idea, but now you want to perform and verify whether you understood, or whether things what you have made as hypothesis is valid or not. That is why we have to perform an experiment. So you have to design and you have to perform an experiment. So after that, if you have performed some experiments, definitely you will be able to test the hypothesis, because your experiment will be framed depending on your hypothesis. All right. So you will test the hypothesis, and after testing, you will know whether you need to accept or reject the hypothesis or the suppositions you have made. All right. And now after testing, you can definitely make conclusions based on the hypothesis you made in prior. All right. So this is the 4th step. So you observed and questioned, then you have researched and hypothesized, then you have done experiment, and based on experiment you have through experiment you have tested and you have drawn conclusions out of that. Now, so you have done a wonderful job. So you have you observed and you found a question, and you have done all these steps. Now you have some results with you, or you have some findings with you. Now, if you have such findings, you should be delivering it, or you should be giving it to a wider audience. Then only others, when they start researching, they can also search for these existing answers, right? So the 5th step of the scientific method is basically to report. So what are your findings, or what are your results? Share those results with a community or a wider audience. All right. I hope I made clear all these 5 steps in scientific method. And now we are talking about this report, right? So as I told, in internet or in libraries, if you go, you will have many reports, a lot many technical journals or technical articles where people would have observed, they would have got some problems, they would have worked on that, and they would have published their results. All right. So now our talk, or what we are concentrating, is on that report. That report is called as a technical article or a scientific article. Sometimes we call it as technical paper or a journal paper. So all these terms, scientific article, technical article, paper, all these are used with small change in meanings. But for this discussion, this primary discussion, I do not want to do any such classification here. I'll call the result of such the result of a scientific method will be available in the form of a report. That can be an article, that can be in the form of a paper, that can be in the form of a short communication, whatever it is. All right. Now, I'll take a small example to understand how the scientific method is carried out and what will be the structure of the article coming out as a result of the scientific method. I hope you guys are there. Can I get a response in the chat box? Are you guys present there? Are you guys with me? Are you following? All right. Can I get some response? Yes. Thank you. Okay. So I'll go ahead with the next thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take one example and see how we can follow a scientific method. For that, what we'll do is, my question is, are all apples red? That is a question. So that is basically the first step of the scientific method. The question is, are all apples are red? Now, how will we proceed with the scientific method to come to a conclusion whether all apples are red or not? Are you getting? All right. So the first thing is, we observed and we formulated a question, and the question is whether all apples are red or not. So what we should do first actually we should go and search for the existing solutions. That means, if people see all apples red, this question is a very simple question I have taken for you guys to relate to the first. All right. So the very next step is to research and hypothesis. That means I should actually look at the existing findings, whether people have already found whether all apples are red or not. Right. So looking at the existing findings. So for that I can look at the existing articles, existing papers, and then I decided that, okay, there are a lot of confusions. What I will do, I will actually do an experiment and I will come with a conclusion to conclude once for all to know whether all apples are red or not, right? So now my question is, I have looked at the existing findings and I observed that there are certain conflicts. Some people are telling no, all apples are red. Some are telling not, all are red. So now I decided to resolve this question. So how will I resolve? In order to resolve this question, I have to frame my own experiment. So that is my very next step. So my experiment is, I will experiment this by going to a local grocery store and I'll get one variety, one from all varieties. There will be a lot of apples available there. I'll take one from all varieties and I have took all varieties. That is my experiment. So I have performed that experiment. So after getting all the varieties, I'll come back home. And now it is my time to test the hypothesis. The hypothesis was to basically to check whether all apples are red or not. All right. So I have taken all the apples to home and I observed, looked at them and I observed that out of the 7 apples what I bought, 4 are red, 1 is green and 2 are yellow. All right. So what will be my conclusion? My conclusion is I got variety of apples. In that 4 are red, 1 is green and 2 are yellow. So that means I have come to the conclusion and I can surely say that all apples are not red, right? So since I have observed or since I have found that, I will wish to write a paper reporting this finding. Now, if I'm doing that, that will be a form of this, right? So it will start with a question. So this is basically the title of your article or title of the paper. Usually titles will be very catchy. So when you read the title itself, you will be interested to read the entire article. In that way only, generally people keep titles, right? So this is not my finding. So all apples, that is the title. So for every paper, for every technical paper, and in most of the technical articles, this is the common structure followed. So it will start with an abstract. So what is an abstract? Abstract is nothing but summary of the content. So you have done a lot of things and in one paragraph, you'll be writing what is all about, what is the content of your entire work. All right, so here you can read that the abstract says like, we examine several apples color, although most are red, some are not. So that is the very vague way telling the summary or giving the summary of the entire content. That is the first. This is the first section what you will see in most of the technical articles or papers, mostly papers, abstract. After that, you can see introduction. So there I will write about the existing solution. So you can say, I'll read that out for you. An age-old question is, are all apples red? But two people, one person thought so, but the other person had a different opinion. So these things what we have written in the introduction will come as the, we call it as literature survey, or we search for the existing solutions, and then at the end of the introduction we are writing, we hope to resolve this issue once for all. So that means you have observed something and you have formulated the question. Now after that, you have the methods, you have your own methods, you have your own experiments, as we discussed before. We'll go to a store, we'll collect it, and finally after your experiment you will come out with the results or your conclusions, and that also will be that is also portrayed in a pictorial way. That is for a better visibility or for a better understanding. All right. And at the end of the paper, you will write the discussion. Since we found one yellow, two green, and other are red, it must be true that all apples are not red, and that is your finding. All right. It will end with a lot of references. If you have referred to other people's work, you can list it down here. All right. So this is how a technical paper will look like. I hope I made it clear. Are you guys with me? Or whether my pace is okay? Am I going so fast? What question I can ask? Am I going so fast? Can I get yes or no question answer for that? No. Okay. All right. That means my pace is okay. You are able to follow. Thank you. Thank you for the response. So, all right, we'll go ahead. So I hope you understood what a scientific method is, and using a scientific method, how you will do some work and how you will present that in the form of a paper. And this is the I can say this is the anatomy, or this is structure of a technical paper or a technical article, right? Now, with this, I can definitely say a technical article is, so we should understand, a technical article is actually, it will contain direct, informative, clear and concise language. So we will use direct, informative, clear and concise language. And this technical article is basically meant, or it is written for an identified audience. So what do you mean by identified audience? Because most of the time, say for example, now the students, you guys listening to my talk, you are from different departments, right? So some are electronics, some are electrical, some are computer science, some are civil, mechanical. All right. So you may not be, some will be interested in other domains as well, but most of the time, if you're an easy guy, you will be interested in knowing something related to your electronics, right? So when you look at a technical article related to EC, the structure of the paper or the way the paper will be demonstrated to you will be in such a way that it will be basically for an identified audience. That means people will expect a background for the reader. All right, so it will be easy for an electronic student or an electronic graduate to understand an electronic paper than a computer science paper. This is like logic I'm telling. All right, so your technical article will be, the language will be very direct, informative, clear and concise for an intended identified audience, and that will be treating a scientific or a technical subject, and that will definitely give you a systematic account of a result of research, investigation, experiments or field work. All right, so the content of your technical article will be a systematic account of a result of the research what people have done, the investigations what you have done, as some of you guys have put in the chat box, or the field work what you have done, or it can actually bring in the innovations what you have made as a result of your experiment. All right, now so this is what a technical article is. Now we are coming to the main section. As you have seen in the poster, we will be answering all the questions what we have seen there. The very first question comes to your mind is, why to read? All right. So why you are supposed to read a technical article? The answer is very very simple. To keep updated or to keep current in a in a particular field. Right. So a computer science student should know what is happening in industry today. Right. So that will actually give you a complete picture of what they are learning in their through their syllabus. So that is true with every branch. So we know that everyday innovations, every day new things are coming up. All right. So say for example, if you guys have joined for engineering in 2021 2020, the syllabus what you have framed for you will be based on the findings and the resources available till 2020, but you will be graduating your engineering in 2024, right? So another 4 years, the findings or the things coming up in the future cannot be included in your syllabus. So for you guys to keep updated or to keep current in a particular field, reading such technical articles is very very essential. All right. So that is the answer for why to read is very simple: to keep updated. Now the next question is what to read. I think some of you would have seen the different magazines, technical magazines. Some of you would have seen papers. All these things will come in form of journals, in short communications, or it comes as form of letters also. So these terms, what you are seeing on the screen now as technical magazine, paper, short communication, letter, are different forms or different ways of communicating things. All right. So we'll come to such details little later. As of now, for us, if somebody is doing something in a scientific method, and if that is resulting in an innovation or that is resulting in some findings, anyone can publish that as their own findings in magazines or papers or short communications or letters. So we can read all these things in order to get updated in those fields. Now the next question is when to start. So I would say there is no specific point of time to start. But if you are a first year student, I would say you can start from the very first year of your BTech program. All right. So if final years are listening to me, you don't worry. If you haven't started reading anything, there are a lot of time you can also read. So it is better that keep updated to know the recent trends, right? So that will help you to connect to the syllabus, connect to the subjects what you learn in your program also. All right. Now the next question is how to read. So this is a very very important question because there are a lot of things available, and how we will read and understand the thing. So a very common approach what people generally take is called as 3-pass approach that I'll be explaining in the next slide. There are different approaches, but this is a very simple and efficient way of doing or reading a paper. We call it as 3-pass approach. That means reading a paper in 3 steps or 3 passes. We'll discuss that in little more detail. Now the next question is from where you will get information or from where you will get these articles or papers. So I hope as I have seen the responses from different branches, if you are an electrical or an electronics student, definitely IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the association, the website will give you a lot of information, a lot of technical articles and papers, but IEEE is not the only one. But generally, as a standard, as even this talk is also sponsored by IEEE, the site will give you the Explore, IEEE Explore will give you a lot of articles. Similarly, for computer science, you have Association of Computing Machinery, and even other associations will be definitely there. For mechanical, you have American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Again, for civil engineers, also same. And for applied sciences also, you have International Association of Applied Science and Engineering. So all these associations or institutes are basically group of engineers of that particular stream or particular field. They have come together, they formed a community in order to share the innovations or the inventions or discoveries to a wider community to make others also educated. All right. So these are the different places or different, the websites of all these associations will definitely give you a lot of journal articles, a lot of conference articles. All right. Yeah, I'm coming to that point. So which to choose? So out of these, as I told, a lot of technical information is available online. Right? Now, as a student, you also will be confused which to choose or like which one to read first. So A very simple way to choose things is you can broadly see that there will be two kind of papers or articles available. One will be under the banner of conference, and one will be attached to something called as journal. All right, so you can choose both conferences and journals. So depending on the technical background what you have, you can go on and you can read both conference articles as well as journal articles. I can give you more information on this soon after this presentation if you are interested. Okay, so coming to the most important thing, how to read a technical article or a technical paper. As I told, I'll be explaining what is called as this 3-pass approach. Okay, so to how to read a paper, generally people say, people have done a lot of research, and still I'm sure that people will be finding new methods to read a paper. So this is based on a finding from a person called Keshav in Canada, Waterloo University. So he says that a paper can be read in 3 phases, or you can read a paper in 3 passes. So see, why is it so? Because all of us will not be interested to sit and understand something for a very long time, right? So we also need break, or see, if you're reading something new, you will not be able to understand at one stretch. All of a sudden, you will not be able to understand. So in such cases, what you will do, you'll do reading in 3 passes. What is the first pass? So the first pass is basically to get a general idea of the paper. So as I have shown the template, or as I have shown the structure of a technical article or a paper, you will see a title. So you will definitely read the title of the paper, then you will read the abstract, because abstract will have the summary of the entire content. And you will also read the introduction paragraph, because introduction paragraph will give you some background. All right, but after that you will see a lot of other headings. Probably you would have seen in the template what I showed. There will be methodology will be there. There will be experimental results will be there. But in the first pass, it is advised that you should not read all the section details, but you can just glance through the headings of all the sections, and you can just read conclusion, and you can wind up your first pass. So read the title, read the abstract, read the introduction to get the background. Then you can glance through the entire paper for different section headings, and you can just read the conclusion. All right. So this may take some 10 minutes or 15 minutes of time, or even lesser than that. And when you do this, you will get a general idea of a paper. All right. But the general idea will not help you in anything, because if you want to know more about the paper, you should definitely go to the second pass. So what is the second pass? In second pass, the intention of the second pass reading is to get, here we will read the paper with greater care, but we will not go to such great details. The intention is to grasp the content. So when you do this, it is preferably you can note down the key points what you are reading. You can carefully observe some diagrams or illustrations given, or you can also use a highlighter or use a pen to mark the relevant references. All right, so this is the second pass. So at the end of second pass, you will have and this may take up to 1 hour of time. So probably it may take of 1 hour or even more, depending on the background what you have. But at the end of the second pass, you should be able to summarize the main thrust of the paper with some supporting evidence, and you should be able to tell about this paper to someone. So that should be the takeaway. So after the second pass, if someone else is asking you about the paper, you should be able to tell some relevant points about the paper. All right, that is second pass. But now, when you do research, or when you do a work, and if you want to know exactly what the other person has done, then you have to spend little more time. That will be in the third pass, and third pass is basically meant for in-depth understanding. All right. So people say in order to get this in-depth understanding, what you should do is you should make an attempt to re-implement the paper virtually. In the sense, say for example, if a person has done a work in a field work in the sense, for example, a civil engineer or an electrical engineer, they would have done a field work, but you are not asking to go there to the exact location and do the experiment again. Rather, virtually so through imagination, or if you have some, if you are more interested, even you can take the help of simulators also. The whole idea is to virtually re-implement the paper. Why we are doing so? Because that will give you some clarity of the assumptions what the authors have made, or you will understand the innovations what the author has brought in, or it will also give you the hidden failings or assumptions of the paper. All right, so this is actually your third pass that will give you the in-depth understanding of the paper. So any paper, whenever you read, it is advised, preferably you can do in 3 passes. The first pass can be a general glance to get the general idea. Then when you have little more time, sit for 1 hour and try to grasp the content by noting down the important points. You can use highlighters, you can mark it, and then you have little more time, or if you are further interested to know more about the paper, you can actually do a third pass where you will definitely get in-depth understanding. Now again, when I use the word definitely get, will not be common for everyone, because even after third passes sometimes you will not understand the paper. The reason can be the subject, the paper will be addressing a new subject which is totally new to you. You are unfamiliar with the terminology or the acronyms or the abbreviations what the author have used, or you are not familiar with the experimental techniques what the author have used, or the derivations what he have used. Maybe he would have directly quoted an equation and you do not know the origin of that equation. Then you will be wondering what to do further, right? So in such things, don't get upset. What you can do is you can keep the paper aside, go back and read the fundamentals. So first you make a fundamental or make a background, and then come back to paper and try to do the third pass study or in-depth understanding or virtual implementation of the paper. All right. So yeah, so this is the very common approach what people generally take to do reading of the paper. All right, so this is the, yeah, so with this I'll be winding up this talk and giving some good sources here. As I mentioned, Spectrum, I can show you one example here. Spectrum.ieee.org. Even though IEEE is actually the Institute of Electronic and Electrical Engineers, but the Spectrum site, all right, I'm trying to get that page. I hope you guys can see the, okay, I'll just show it. Yeah, so I'm sharing the spectrum.ieee.org page. So here, yeah, so you can see the engineering topics on the top. So if you click on this, you'll get this drop down menu. You can see that it is in almost all areas are covered here: aerospace, intelligence, biomedical, computing, energy, gadgets, green technology, history, robotics. So you can see a lot of areas there. And if you click to that, you'll be taken to a page where you will find the very recent topics over there, right? But if you click in one of these topic, that will not take you to the structure what you have seen. It is basic. What you will get here is actually very small articles. Those will not be of the this will not be of the structure what we have discussed as abstract experiments and all. This will be a small write-up about this, right? Now, if you want to see really how people have worked on such topics, what you can do is you can go to another site. We call it as IEEE.org. Sorry, so I'm referring to IEEE.org because that is what we usually look at. Similarly, we can go for other sites also. See, for example, I have gone to IEEE and I have taken this paper, analog front-end ASIC for cardiac electrical impedance tomography. And if I download this paper, let me see whether it will open here. Yes, it will open here. All right, I hope you can see the paper. Yes. Yeah, so you will see that there is an abstract I can zoom in. There is an abstract here, as I mentioned, that will be summarizing the content. Coming down, there will be an introduction. In some papers, introduction will be in very detail. They will bring all the previous references. So you can see there are numbers put in brackets here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So many numbers have put. All this show the as we mentioned in the scientific methods step, research. They are actually searching for the existing solutions, and they have quoted actually what people have done in previous. Now coming down, you can see a block diagram starting with specification. See, the internal contents will be specific to specific branches, so we cannot generalize, but there will be diagrams will be there. So I'm just doing a first pass here. Abstract I didn't read anyway. Yeah, so I'm just glancing through the paper. By having a lot of results will be there, and finally it will end up with the conclusion. You can see the conclusion of the paper here. So when you do a first pass, you will read the title, you will read the abstract, and then you will just read the main headings, and it will come to conclusion. So that will give you a basic idea of what paper it is, or whether you are interested in this paper or not. And after that, you can see a lot of references kept. So all these references are, this is actually one portion of your research. Your research is basically, the first thing is you have to search the answers for the existing solutions. Search for the existing solutions. That is what here also you can see as a part of references. All right. So that is all about technical articles or technical papers. And if you have any doubts, or if you want to discuss something further, the platform is open for you for discussion. And thank you so much for listening to this. And I also thank the college, especially Professor NC San, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. I'm very happy to answer the questions if you have. Yes, yes. മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിക്കാം, കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. ഞാൻ ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി കാണിക്കാം. വൺ മോർ തിങ്. സോ ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, പേപ്പർ വായിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് പാസ് സെക്കൻഡ് പാസ് ഒക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത്, സോ ഞാനിവിടെ ഒരു പേപ്പർ എടുത്ത് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രിന്റ് എടുത്തിട്ട് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഇപ്പോൾ എടുക്കാം. അതിന് മുമ്പ് ജസ്റ്റ് ഇതും കൂടി ഒന്ന് കാണിച്ചോട്ടെ. സോ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ ഹൗ ടു റീഡ് എ പേപ്പർ, അത് ശരിക്കും കേശവ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരാൾ എഴുതിയൊരു പേപ്പറാണ് ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. സോ ഞാൻ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു പറഞ്ഞാൽ, ടു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ദിസ്, ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രിന്റ് എടുത്തിട്ട് I have done first, second and third pass reading. So abstract okay vaaichu, introduction vaaichittu I have used a highlighter and a pen in order to mark the important points. So whenever you read the first pass, second pass and third pass reading cheyna samayathu, you can actually mark, and you can even write notes on the side, so that it will give more idea, right? So that you can reuse it, or you can namukku pinned we'll be able to comprehend the paper after that. All right, so this is a simple way to read or understand the technical paper. Yeah, that's all. Questions, sir? Choikya, if you have questions. Chat box, yes, that is also fine. Any questions? Questions ചോദിക്കാൻ ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് ചോദിക്കാം കേട്ടോ. അതിനകത്ത് ബിക്കോസ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സെഷൻ തന്നെ ചിലപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളിൽ പലരും പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ഒരുപാട് വായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളവർ കാണും, ചിലപ്പം ഒരു പേപ്പർ പോലും വായിച്ചിട്ടില്ലാത്തവർ കാണും. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് പെർഫെക്റ്റ്ലി ഫൈൻ. നിങ്ങളിപ്പം ഫസ്റ്റ് ഇയർ ആണെങ്കിലും ഫോർത്ത് ഇയർ ആണെങ്കിലും പേപ്പർ വായിച്ചിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് പെർഫെക്റ്റ്ലി ഫൈൻ, അല്ലെ? സോ ഇതൊരു ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ആണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് മനസ്സിലായിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടുതൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും അറിയണമെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. We can help even. Yeah, intention is that. Okay, in idinathu I can share one Mentimeter slide and share ചെയ്യാം. All right, eight easy students. Yeah, I'm just looking at the results of the Mentimeter poll. There were 8 EC students, 5 CS students, 1 electrical and 1 IT. All right. Yeah. There is nothing to share from my side. If there are questions, I'll be very happy. Or whether this talk was useful for you guys. You can just share. And this is only the starting point. We can definitely do such things. And if we paper reading, now you will come to a stage, paper writing stage. So how to write a technical paper? So a technical paper നമുക്ക് ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഒരു സയന്റിഫിക് മെത്തേഡ് ഫോളോ ചെയ്ത് എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ്സ് കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കുറച്ച് റിസൾട്ട് കിട്ടുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമുക്ക് ടെക്നിക്കൽ പേപ്പർ എഴുതുന്ന എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് പഠിക്കണം. അതിനോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ടെക്നിക്കൽ പേപ്പർ എഴുതാനായിട്ട് ജനറലി വി യൂസ് മൈക്രോസോഫ്റ്റ് വേർഡ്, ബട്ട് അത് അല്ലാതെ തന്നെ വി യൂസ് സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർസ് കോൾഡ് ലേടെക്. ലേടെക് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ആണ് ജനറലി യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. വേറെ ഒന്നുമല്ല, for ease, പെട്ടെന്ന് ഫോർമാറ്റിങ്ങിനൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് എളുപ്പത്തിനൊക്കെയാണ്. സോ ദർ ഇസ് അതർ സെക്ഷൻസ് ഓൾസോ ലൈക്ക് ഹൗ ടു റൈറ്റ് എ പേപ്പർ. പക്ഷെ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പേപ്പർ എഴുതാൻ പഠിക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് വി ഹാവ് ടു ഡു സം വർക്ക് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദിസ് സയന്റിഫിക് മെത്തേഡ്. ഞാൻ ക്യാമറ ഓൺ ആക്കി നോക്കാം. ക്യാമറ വീണ്ടും ഫെയിൽ ആയി. ഓൾറൈറ്റ്. So if you have questions, we can take it up. Otherwise, we'll wind up. I can see participants, 20 participants are there. Feel free, and then otherwise we can wind up. Yes. Sure. Yeah. Yes.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, a very good evening, sir. And first of all, I would like to thank you on behalf of all the students in this particular meeting. And I just want to say that this session was really wonderful and really informative, and quite really enjoyed it. It's really unfortunate that we couldn't event as an offline event. I personally got the articles and technical papers. So I hope that if anybody has any questions, they'll post about that in their groups or in this meeting itself. So finally, I just want to say that taking your time and hosting this event, and thank you for taking such a beautiful session.
Thank you.
And also, I would like to thank Ranchi sir also for hosting this event. And
thank you, Asim. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ranchi sir.